We often secure our property grounds with nets, lattices or cement constructions. It's rarely a pretty sight. Besides, a passerby can still look in. Such constructions can be covered with climbers to create a greenery wall, some kind of hedge. Actually, it's better than a hedge, as vines grow faster and are more flexible. They will adjust to different types of supports. We can choose plants of varying growth rate to make the barrier higher or lower. We can combine foliage of different colors or go for flowering vines. The possibilities are endless. We have a net fencing here. Virginia creeper, Parthenosis quinquefolia, has been planted along, and practically in a year's time it'll create a green wall. Just like the one we can see further down. Also, the remaining cement pillars have been covered by Virginia creeper and turned into green columns. If we had some slabs of cement, we could also cover it with the vine. Such green covers can have different heights, ranging from around half a metre to a couple of metres. Depending on the required height, we can choose cultivars of adequate growth rate that we can additionally adjust by pruning. The most commonly used is Virginia creeper. If it grows along a wire mesh or another construction, it can climb without the help of leaf tendrils. I particularly recommend Redwall, a cultivar of nice, glossy leaves that colour beautifully in autumn. It'll look even better combined with a cultivar of leaves turning yellow in autumn, like Yellow Wall. If the wall is smooth, we could choose Bororum, a vine that climbs by means of adhesive pads placed at the tips of leaf tendrils. Virginia creeper is undemanding and completely frost-hardy and has a high growth rate, which means that it'll reach the top of the fence in 2 years' time, and in 3 years will cover it completely. If we're seeking a faster result, it can be achieved within a year and a half with the help of silver vine fleeceflower, also known as Fallopoeia balchuanica. We have to remember, though, that a fast-growing vine on a low support will require more pruning work to control its further spreading. Fences covered with Boston ivy, Parthenosis tricuspidata, are a pretty sight. However, the plant's more frost-sensitive than Virginia creeper. It can be successfully grown in Zone 6B. In 6A, there may be some frost damage, and I wouldn't recommend it at all for Zone 5 or colder. Clematis are great as fence covers, especially those that require hard pruning. That is, early large flowered group, for example, Błękitny Anioł, Blue Angel, Prince Charles, Cardinal Wyszynski, Comtesse de Bouchard, and Hagley Hybrid. Also those of Viticella group, such as Amelia Plater, Betty Corning, or Krakowiak. They're quite easy to train. They bloom from mid-June till mid-summer, depending on the cultivar, and sometimes they bloom again in autumn, like Polish Spirit. If we want to plant vines along a fence higher than 2 meters, a good choice will be Clematis of Tangutica group. LAMBTON Park reaches 3 to 4 meters height. It blooms throughout summer, and later its ornamental feature is fluffy seed heads. They look spectacular in winter, with some snow or covering of ice on them. Even stronger growing is Bill MACKENZIE, which reaches 5 to 6 meters. A suitable cultivar for such high constructions will also be Paul FARGES, also known as summer snow, because in summer it's covered with small white blossoms. This is a flagship vine for high fences or noise screens, even in urban areas, as it is undemanding and grows well in every type of soil. A great vine similar to Virginia creeper, and a bit underrated so far, is monkshood vine, Ampelopsis aconitifolia. It is also undemanding and strong growing, up to 2 to 4 meters. It has pretty leaves. Small and nicely cut out, they help avoid any wind damage, as the air goes through easily. In autumn, the foliage turns yellow, like that of frost grape or oriental bittersweet, so it can be used to brighten up red leaves of Virginia creeper. Another strong-growing and undemanding vine is oriental bittersweet, Celastrus orbiculatus. It does well in any type of soil and reaches 5 to 6 meters height. If we want it to produce plenty of side shoots, we need to prune it regularly, especially at the beginning. It's a dioecious plant. Male and female flowers appear on separate plants. We need male flowers to obtain fruit that split in autumn, revealing a decorative orange interior. Diana is a female cultivar and Hercules a male one. Sometimes, especially outside urban areas, it's required to plant cultivars that won't escape to the natural environment. In these cases, Hercules is a good choice. In hot, sunny spots by a fence, we can plant trumpet creeper, Campsis radicans. This is a cultivar JUDY of apricot-coloured flowers, but orange-coloured ones like Ursinov or red ones like flamenca or gabor are recommended too. Cultivars of winter creeper, Euonymus fortunei, seem to be low-growing ground covers that won't reach great heights. Planted by a support, however, they can climb by means of attachment rootlets to around 5 meters. This fence is 3.5 meters high, but even if it were 5 or 6 meters, it would be covered within a couple of years. That's how Coloratus would grow, a cultivar of dark green leaves. Silver Queen has leaves with white margins. It's frost-hardy. This specimen sustained temperatures of 25 degrees centigrade below zero, and although slightly frostbitten, it's continued its growth in spring. This is Sunspot cultivar. And in another spot, we have Emerald and Gold. In short, this is a plant for moderately high fences, considering it should be pruned. Without pruning, it'll reach 3 to 5 meters height. For larger supports, for example some covers or screens, strong growing climbers will be suitable. One of them is Crimson Glory Vine, Vitis koinischii, of big leaves like those of Pipevine, 30 to 40 centimeters across, green and turning a beautiful burgundy color in autumn. This coloring will last even for a couple of weeks. Crimson Glory Vine, when mature, develops shoots up to 7 to 8 meters long. It thrives here and on this well-lit fence. Frost grape, Vitis riparia, will be a great choice if you want to hide large fences or screens, as it's undemanding, highly frost-hardy, up to 40 degrees centigrade below zero, and what's important, it survives in salty soil. Even planted near a road that in winter is cleared of snow using salt. Tomek is a male variety, and Anya is female. Another interesting plant is sweet autumn clematis, Clematis terniflora. Semi-evergreen and blooming from September on, especially the early snow cultivar that's sprinkled with white, star-shaped blossoms in mid-September. It reaches 4 to 5 meters height, and it looks like a fairy tale feature with the white flowers and dark green leaves just when other plants in the garden lose their leaves or change color. It remains in full bloom till the end of October. To cover lower fences, we can use perennial clematis of intergrafolia group, such as Cisaya titsa, that will bloom throughout summer, or a flagship ground cover clematis of Heraclelifolia group, that is, precox. It usually scrambles over the ground, but when trained over other vines or supports, it can climb upward by means of its shoots. In a northern, dark site, it's advisable to use climbing hydrangea or Japanese hydrangea for low fences and pipevine, Aristolochia macrophylla for higher ones. Over this 3-meter high fence grows frost grape, Vitis riparia. It could climb up to 6 to 7 meters. This is not the best spot for this cultivar, as this is the northern aspect. It'd be much happier in a southern, eastern or western site. This is an attractive clematis cultivar, FARGES. Its bloom is nearly over as we're approaching the end of summer, but still it forms a pretty white wall. The plant is undemanding and strong growing. In northern sites like this one here, a pipevine will be a good choice. The sun won't burn it, and it has impressively large leaves. It could be combined with FARGES. There are many possibilities. We just have to choose the right plant for our purpose. Here's a 1.8 meters high fence covered with black fabric to stop busybodies looking in and to protect the area from dust. We're going to plant some vines alongside. We choose the planting spread depending on how much money we want to spend and how fast we want to get results. We're going to plant Virginia creeper, redwall. It climbs over net well, and it has large glossy leaves that turn red in autumn. We're going to plant a meter apart. It could also be 1.5 meters to 2 meters, but then we'll have to wait longer for the net to be fully covered. Here's going to be the first plant, and the next one here, etc. If the soil's fertile, we can place the plant in a hole without additional fertilizer at the same depth as it was in a container. Depleted soil needs to be nourished with mineral substances. In former building sites, the top layer soils often mixed with the subsoil. Now we're going to add some compost to make the soil richer. The plants will grow faster in it. And I'm throwing in some of the local soil too. Mixing all together. Only the vines in 2-liter or larger containers should be transplanted. Those in smaller ones, half a litre, 9 or 11 centimetre pots, aren't big enough. They should have a developed root system, at least 2 strong shoots. Such a plant will root easier and grow faster. it'll reach the desired size 2 to 4 or sometimes even 5 years earlier than a small plant. These plants have been soaked, as transplanting dry root balls causes the plants some stress. We place the root ball at the same depth as before and add some of the fertile soil we've prepared. Don't knead the soil too hard. The roots need air in soil. I've only flattened the surface a little to get rid of the air pockets. I'm leaving this ditch to make watering easier and more effective. The water won't flow away easily. Finally, I'm using bark mulch to stop the weeds and to maintain the soil humidity. I'm leaning the bamboo pole against the support so the leaf tendrils have a better grip on the net. Let's go and see what the plants will look like 2 years after planting. A similar creeper, thicket creeper, Parthenocissus inserata, was planted here 2 years ago. It's already formed a green cover, a wall. It's a pity that the acoustic screen at the back doesn't look the same. Ivy was planted alongside it at the same time, following the cheaper the better rule. Most of the plants died. Some of them reached around ½ meter and are struggling for life. Citizens should put more pressure on the local authorities to take more care of acoustic screens like this one and make them an ornament, not a detriment to the landscape.